Welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night creator convos. I'm Noelle Marshall, and with my husband, Bob Warner, we are co-founders of the Co-Creators Convergence. And I see there's some new folks here. Before we introduce, well, everyone knows Kathy Mason, she'll be introducing our guest tonight. I'm very excited to have Tom Paladino and learn about Scalar technology. So let me tell you a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence, and then we'll be right back for the conversation. So stand by. And we're back. So that's a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence. And we are here every Thursday night, as we have been for 7 or 8 years. So I'm excited about our guest tonight. But before we begin, I want to let you know that ask you to just stay muted and keep your video off until you're invited in. But in the meantime, you are more than welcome to put any comments, questions in the chat. And when Kathy and Tom open it up, everybody is welcome. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my very, very good friend, Kathy Mason, Mason Works Marketing. And she's been part of the Co-Creators Convergence basically since it began. I consider her kind of like a co-founder of the Co-Creators Convergence. And Kathy brings us wonderful guests from time to time. So I'm very excited to have you here, and you can find Kathy at masonworksmarketing.com. So without any further ado, I'm going to disappear. And Kathy, over to you, and welcome, Tom. Thank you for taking some time to be with us tonight.
And I thank you. Thank you for the effort, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, so basically, we're in store for an amazing opportunity to learn a way to help ourselves and empower others that we love with Tom Paladino's technology. But first, what I want to do is get us all, because we're all coming from a busy day, get us all in line with the centering. And then what we'll do is I'll give you some of the insights so that you can know and appreciate all of the knowledge that Tom will share. But first, what we'll do is I read a prayer that I learned from Jarlis Mays, who's also a founding member pretty much of Co-Creators Convergence, known for 10, 12 years. And this is from her class, her Akashic Records class. So I use it to make sure I'm in the field. So read it 3 times, and then we see what incredible inspiration comes through. So starting, we align with our divine primordial blueprint with guidance from the galactic Akashic Records in all dimensions. All aspects of self are here now. All universal and celestial information and all important memories for our highest good and guidance are available to us now. We have access to all stellar wisdom of light now, delivered by the galactic Akashic record keepers in reverence for the well-being of all life. And so it is. We align with our divine primordial blueprint with guidance from the galactic Akashic records in all dimensions. All aspects of self are here now. All universal and celestial information and all important memories for our highest good and guidance are available to us now. We have access to all stellar wisdom of light now, delivered by the galactic Akashic record keepers in reverence for the well-being of all life. And so it is. One more. We align with our divine primordial blueprint with guidance from the galactic Akashic records in all dimensions. All aspects of self are here now. All universal and celestial information and all important memories for our highest good and guidance are available to us now. We have access to all stellar wisdom of light now, delivered by the galactic Akashic record keepers in reverence for the well-being of all life. And so it is. Masters, teachers, and guides, please show us what we need to know. Okay, we're in. So you may feel some energy that comes through. You may feel synchronicities from this. Hopefully you'll feel a lot of love. That was the intention to use that. So with that, let's switch gear and go to planet Earth now that I went to the galaxy and introduce Tom Paladino to you. He's a scalar energy researcher with over 25 years of experience developing healing technologies and techniques designed to help people all over the world to recover from pathogenic infection and experience true health and wellness. And before Tom came on, I was explaining that I think I met Tom 10 years ago, right. And he probably from Sheila Gale, and right. And you, whatever you're doing, the anti-aging stuff works because you look even better than you looked 10 years ago. So this is why this is why we want you to understand the research and the grounded work. This may sound like it's a little bit out of the ordinary, but it's real science that Tom's going to share with us, and historical knowledge that he's collated for us to look and learn from it and benefit from it. And he's very, very generous. So we'll talk later about some of the nonprofit projects that he's used this with, but you'll find that this is a wonderful opportunity for you and for all of your loved ones. So with that, thank you, Tom. Thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure. It's been a 10 years. You're right. It's been a long 10 years, and it's great to just once again reconnect with you, Kathy.
Yeah. So Tom, let's start with giving the audience a little bit of insight into your journey as a researcher, how you got started, and right. And your kind of milestones that got you to the fantastic results that you're getting today.
And thank you. In many ways, I am I'm following the footsteps of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was the first man to develop scalar energy instruments. What's scalar energy? It's zero-point energy or quantum energy. Some people might call that ether energy or pyramid energy. And that's what I'm working with. Scalar energy, it's not electricity. It's a different type of energy. Why is that so important? It's a new and emerging science. No longer do we have to depend upon electricity. If we can depend upon scalar energy, which is the energy of the stars, well, that's going to change our lives. This is what Nikola Tesla envisioned. This is what I envision. So I'm working with scalar energy instruments. This is in the same vein of Nikola Tesla, who is working with scalar energy instruments. And to underscore the matter, these instruments are powerful. And what you can achieve with scalar energy, you cannot easily achieve with electricity. So we'll explore some of the benefits of working with this type of energy. So my instruments over the years have been perfected, have been calibrated to the point where I am able to work with anybody in the world by way of a photograph. Now, let me explain that. I take people's photographs by email, and I actually will place a photograph inside the instrument. So this is a scalar energy technique. It's quantum energy, what some people might call the Akashic record. So I always work with the quantum field, the photographic force field. I don't work with people in person. And these instruments have been shown to balance brain waves or to balance the 7 chakras. And we know that, we come to that conclusion because many people, after they submit their photograph to us, they say they have a sense of tranquility. They have a sense of peace, a sense of calm. And that in and of itself is an indication that a scalar energy can have a profound influence upon the human mind, upon our psyche, upon our brain waves. Many people have told us that a scalar energy instrument, these sessions are very powerful, that they're able to overcome a phobia, some type of fear of heights or fear of driving. Some people say they've been able to give up cigarettes or alcohol on account of these energy sessions. All that calls to mind that this is really the Akashic record, that this is the embodiment of intelligence, that this is the universe of God, and God can connect us through this divine energy, scalar energy. So this opens a new chapter, in my estimation. Working with scalar energy, we really have a direct interface to the human mind, to the human psyche. And I believe scalar energy will be the tool of choice moving forward in mental health. You know, there are many people who are challenged. Their mental health is challenged. And I see great benefits that have been derived from these scalar energy instruments to improve their mental health. So how do we improve mental health? Not with drugs, not with surgery, but with energy, with light. And I say that with greatest assurance because I've seen this so many times. I've worked with thousands of people, and I've had testimonies to the point that people say that after this chakra balancing, after this scalar energy session, they're no longer depressed, or it's changed their mood significantly, that they're happy, they have a sense of elation or a sense of euphoria. So again, over the past 10 years that I've known Kathy, I've shared many of these testimonies, very favorable testimonies, and the evidence is incontrovertible. The evidence is very telling, it's incontrovertible. And I would say that, yes, there's great potential here now with this new technology, scalar energy. I want the world to at least try this once. I know it's new, I know it's different, it's esoteric. I want the world to get on board and just to try this once, one time, and prove it to yourself that there is something of benefit here, something that this should help you, it should help everybody. That's my desire.
So Tom, you call it scalar light.
Yes.
So could you talk a little bit about the photonic nature of it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This energy is from the sun and the stars. And with that in mind, it really has form to it. It has instructions to it. Many people have said that there are a logos or an intelligence to the universe. They're correct. And how is that intelligence delivered? It's delivered by light, by energy. So energy not only embodies light, but, or I should say intelligence, it delivers intelligence. So that's what we see with this energy. It delivers intelligence. It is also responsible for formation, for physical formation. In other words, scalar energy is responsible for molecular forms, atomic forms. And if that's the case, then this is the energy that's responsible for bringing order out of chaos. If we look at the universe, we say to ourselves, how does the universe maintain that order, that physical structure, that harmony? I believe it's by way of scalar energy. Many times we've considered the notion of Platonic solids, but Platonic configurations. What is behind that geometry? It's scalar energy. So scalar energy is responsible for molecular geometry. It's responsible for the geometry that we find in nature. And delving into that further, my instruments are also responsible, say, of forming or assembling, if you will, the geometry of a pathogen. This is Streptococcus mutans, magnified. Imagine a bacterium like this under the influence of scalar energy that gives it geometry. Even bacteria is assembled by this force field, this primal force. So with my instruments, I'm able to look at the geometry, in this case of Streptococcus mutans. I'm able to look at the molecular geometry, ascertain what holds together that bacterium, and then with this instrument, I'm able to negate those molecular forms. I'm able to break down the molecular bonds of a bacterium, such as strep mutans. Now, what does that mean to people? Well, these are energy instruments that can look at what is harmful, toxins, pathogens, pollutants, and we can actually break down, we can actually negate the molecular bonds, break down the molecular bonds of a virus, a bacterium, a fungus. Again, you can do that readily with scalar energy. So these are some of the tools that we have now with scalar energy. This is not electricity. It's not an electrical current. And for the past 10 years, I've been trying to inculcate these ideas and to promulgate how important this technology is. You know, we just went through a pandemic. I will say, I'll go on record that everybody in my family and friends, we were fine, we were healthy. And I believe this instrument is so powerful, it can negate, it can eradicate viruses. So I'll let the audience come to their conclusion in that regard.
Well, one of the things the last time we spoke that really impressed me was using people's pictures, that this intelligent framework that you've created with the scalar light process and the instrument that you have created, invented, that you're able to put large collages of people on this device. Could you talk a little bit about that so people understand that?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'm holding up my photograph. I work with photographs now. I can work with one photograph at a time. That's not a problem. Or I can work with a collage. I can work with a group of people at a time. And this instrument can actually work with 1 million people simultaneously. Now, consider what I'm saying. If we work with collages, we can work with millions of people by way of a scalar energy instrument. Now, why is that important? Well, we have to look at our healthcare costs. And I'm trying to understand how we can reduce healthcare costs, but simultaneously be effective. Well, today in my laboratory, I worked with 500,000 people by way of their photograph. Now, this is quantum healing. This is not a biochemical reaction. This is informational healing. And I could work with millions of people. Today, I work with 500,000 people in my laboratory. Meaning what? I envision global healing. That's the mission that I'm on. Not one person, not a handful of people. I want to work with millions of people around the world through their photographic force field. It's a force field on a photograph. So those of you in the audience tonight, consider what I'm saying. Consider this idea of being able to access a person's force field by way of their photograph, provide healing by way of a chakra balancing or the ability of a scalar energy instrument to eradicate microbes, all by way of a person's photograph. This is the big picture. This is what I'm trying to plant the seed for tonight. A gigantic healing ministry where we can work with millions of people around the world by way of their photograph.
So that's one of the things that I wanted to share is how amazing that process is, but also that for me, it creates a hopeful future. And the reason I'm in Co-Creators Convergence, and I am the eternal optimist, is that
Yes.
You're creating coherence.
Yes.
And that we are not coherent in our field right now. And that's what causes disease, discord, emotional imbalance, whatever you want to call it. So what you're doing is you're actually creating and balancing everything here on the planet, correct?
Yes, exactly. So if we can work with millions of people by way of a photograph, the energy is coherence. It's divine coherence. Now, keep in mind, energy is fundamental. You cannot find a more primal source than energy, light. I believe we can unite the world with this invention, energy, light, the light of God, in which everybody will be working in harmony. There's no division. There's only one option with light, and that's the truth. There's only one option. There's only one outcome with light, which is life, which is intelligence, which is happiness. Now, working with scalar energy, it's God's light. It always produces a favorable outcome. So if we work with people around the world by way of their photograph, it will always produce a favorable outcome. Life, intelligence, happiness, the eradication of microbes, the balancing of the chakras, all by way of the light instrument. And you don't have to visit an office. You simply send and email us a photograph. So Kathy sees the big picture. I'm sure many of you in the audience see the big picture. We finally have an instrument that can work with millions of people a day in very inexpensive fashion, provide the spiritual, emotional, and physical healing that we want, do so in a safe context. There's no side effects. Light is perfect. God's light is perfect. And it only requires somebody to submit a photograph. You don't have to leave your home. Everybody has a cell phone today. So this is not pie in the sky theory. This is being practiced on a daily basis. As I mentioned today, I worked with 500,000 photographs around the world. I've been doing this now for 10, 11 years, and many people send us their photographs. So this will only increase, this will only gain momentum. If we're already working with 500,000 people a day, I envision someday we'll work with 3-4 million people a day. And we're going to improve the world situation. We're doing so today on a daily basis. In the future, we're going to improve the world situation in a grand fashion, in a grand capacity.
The other thing I want everyone to know is that Tom is a religious man. So this is these kind of technologies are amplifying the love of God. So there is a spiritual aspect to this, not just a mechanical aspect to this. Do you want to talk a little bit about your awakening and how this affected your work?
Sure. I come from a Christian background, and I've always believed that God is light. You know, regardless of your religion, regardless of your political beliefs, regardless of your ideological leanings, I believe there is a creator, a God. And if you look at the universe, you have to consider light, energy, as the prime mover, as the motivating force for everything, light. And I firmly believe I'm working with God's light. Once again, scalar energy is a divine light. Now, what does that mean to everybody? That means it's God's blessing upon everybody. You know, this is not magnetism. This is not some type of a therapy or some type of nutraceutical. No, it's divine energy. And with that, I believe every day I'm giving everybody a divine blessing. This is God's light. And if everybody can enjoy that blessing, that in and of itself should improve the world condition. I see what's going on in the world. I'm not blind. We're all cognizant of what's going on. And Kathy and I are of the ilk, I'm sure everybody else is on the program. Bob, Noel, everybody, we want to see the world improve. We want to see the world condition improve. This is the easy way through a photograph. There's no expense in sending us a photograph to improve the world condition. As a humanitarian, as a Christian, that's my duty. I want to do this. You don't have to twist my arm. So join us in this movement.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I wanted to make sure that people understood, first of all, they can go to your website, and I put it in the chat, and hopefully they'll put it right on Facebook for us. Thank you, Bob. It's scalarlight.com. And what you can do, and Olivia's put a note here that she saw you in World Unity Week and she was in the audience while we were talking. And she wanted to ask how to send the picture. So it's the perfect segue to explain to go to scalarlight.com and sign up. And Tom has a very generous free offer for you to experience this energy for free for 15 days. Now, Tom, lots of people, I'm highly sensitive, so I definitely felt it. What do you say to people that don't feel it? What do you do about that? Because that's got to be a little frustrating.
It really isn't, because that's maybe one of the benefits. This energy is so sublime, many people don't feel it. So it's not harmful. It doesn't hurt. Now, if you really are sensitive, you can feel a little tingling sensation. Some people say that their dream state is enhanced, that they can feel it the first night, that they can really dream a deep, what they might call astral projection, or a deep dream state. But if you don't feel it, don't worry. It's energy. Energy never makes a mistake. Energy will always carry out its intended task. So these scientific functions, these scientific tasks to balance your brainwaves, to eradicate germs, we can eradicate thousands of species of viruses and bacteria. And thank God you're not experiencing any harm from that. You could from some type of antibiotic. Working with scalar energy, we simply break down the molecular bonds. We're also able to deliver nutrients. So if you sign up for that 15-day trial, you enjoy a chakra balancing every day, a germ cleanse, and then the nutrient program. Those 3 protocols we practice on a daily basis. So after 15 days, you should feel better. Most people feel some type of shift, some type of improvement in their health, and it's painless, and it won't keep you up at night. And there's no detox, and there's no reaction whatsoever, because you're working with pure information. It's not a chemical.
I love that. So when you put the pictures on the device in the morning, yes. Do you leave it on for a certain amount of time, or once is it activated, does it just maintain itself since it's a wave?
The first thing in the morning as I go to the laboratory, for 1 hour, I'll treat for chakras. I'll balance the brain waves in the 7 chakras. The second hour, I search for and I eradicate microbes, germs. And then the remaining 22 hours, these instruments create vitamins. So 22 hours a day, the remaining 22 hours a day, you're assembling like vitamin E by way of light, by way of energy. So it's a 24-hour process. So throughout the day, you're under the influence of scalar energy.
So, but that energy, like for instance, after the 15 days, if they don't sign up to get into a program,
Yep.
Will there be an after, will they have a little bit of a positive effect for a while
Sure.
afterward?
Sure. Many people say that the initial sessions have either curbed their appetite or would in some way rebalance or reconfigure their thinking about food. Many people, once again, experience an enhanced dream state. During those 15 days, we eradicate microbes, viruses, parasites from your body. After 15 days, you should be essentially germ-free. Working with your nutrients, providing nutrients on a daily basis, that has helped many people. Some people even say that their fingernails are stronger because they're finally getting the nutrients that they need by way of scalar energy in their fingernails. You know, it's so hard to deliver nutrients to your nails. So that's another good indication that the nutrient program is working. Suffice to say, 15 days is if you're giving yourself an experience. This is a new therapy. It's a new quantum therapy. It's never been done before because my technique is unique. I'm the only one on the road with this technique. So I have to allow people to experience this for free for 15 days. I would only hope that people would at least try it once. Yes, it's new. It's different. Why? It's a new groundbreaking science. Scalar energy is brand new to mankind.
So when people talk about future healthcare, they talk about med beds and all this other kind of technology. How do you explain the difference between those kind of devices, which are more like, they are, some of them are Tesla type of devices versus the scalar?
Speaking specifically about the med bed, I've never seen a photograph of the med bed yet. I've never seen it in operation, so I can't speak about that.
Okay.
But there are other instruments out there, and I simply tell people if it's safe and those instruments are effective, try them. You know, this is what I do with my policy. I have 15 days of free sessions because I want people to try it. I want people to at least experience this.
I keep trying to put it all on you and I have to keep going back and forth, sorry. Okay, so I know that you have done, besides the generous offer that you have for the 15 days on your website, you also have done a lot of philanthropy in Africa and other places in the world. But I'd love you to explain about that, because that really, really felt incredible for me, since my daughter was in the Peace Corps for 3 years, and one of her projects was with goats. And and you also did that. So could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So again, reaching out to humanity. This is all about helping people. Our group, our Scalar group, we're working with people in Tanzania, free, it's pro bono. Let's face it, a lot of people in Africa don't have 2 nickels. We're working with them for free. Many of these people have malaria, some of them have HIV, some of them have hepatitis. So we've been able to work with people remotely by way of their photograph. These people report to us that they feel much better after our scalar energy sessions. We've actually even worked with an HIV clinic in Tanzania. And the report back from everybody in the clinic is that they no longer have HIV after working through their photograph. Now, I want to make this clear. I've never been to Tanzania, but all I need is a person's photograph to work with them remotely by way now of their energy field. This is not a biological process. So long story short, working with people from Tanzania, we're able to work with them, improve their health. Many people say that they feel much better after the scalar energy sessions. And then we've gone so far as we've raised money and we're providing goats. We buy goats for the people in Tanzania and we donate those goats. Now, 10 years ago, I didn't know anything about goat farming. I know something now. Goats propagate. Goats are very romantic. Sometimes goats have a gestation period of about 7 or 8 months. And you can donate 10, usually donate 10 or 20 goats at a time. Within a couple of years, those 20 goats are 80 goats. So goats are a great animal in the animal husbandry that people are observing in Tanzania. This is helping them to establish a means of economic viability. They're able to make a living or at least feed themselves with these goats. And again, what do I like about goats? Well, they proliferate. You start with 10 goats and you'll wind up with 100 goats before you know it. So now these goats have been distributed throughout villages in Tanzania and people have goat milk. Now, I don't know if they're going to slaughter the goats, but at least they have goat milk.
Yeah, that's what I saw. My daughter was in Namibia, and that was one of her projects. Originally, she got computers donated to the school that she was teaching English for 6th and 7th graders, and they didn't have electricity to plug in the computers. So then she stayed an extra year and did a goat project. And it's quite amazing, the difference in the prosperity for the community if they have several herds of goats.
You're absolutely right. Good for your daughter. It's, if you start with just 10 or 20 goats, again, these people, they know how to take care of goats. The weather is always warm over there. And you give them an economic backbone. You give them financial support. You've heard the expression, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he eats for a lifetime. Well, this is what we're doing. We're providing them sustenance. We're providing them an industry, a ranching industry, and it works.
So there are a couple of questions coming in, but I want to ask a question first about the anti-aging, because as I said at the very beginning, I'm serious. You haven't aged. I have since I met you. So
you look great.
So, well, how does that all work? Again, is that mostly coherence and that we don't really have to age?
We really don't have to let your audience in on this. I'm 62 years of age, and I take this anti-aging approach with scalar energy. And if you can imagine, 24 hours a day, these instruments are sending me antioxidants, phytochemicals, fatty acids, amino acids, minerals, endorphins. Now, when you do that and you flood your body, so to speak, with all of these natural chemicals, okay, you not only do you improve your health, but you slow down the aging process. I believe I have slowed down the aging process. I believe the fact that I have proper nutrition 24 hours a day, I don't have the free radical damage that many people have. And if you're constantly hydrating your cells and you're constantly providing food, nutrition, energy to your cells, mitochondria, you're going to prolong your life. This is what I believe I'm doing. I am slowing down the aging process. I am prolonging my life.
So can scalar energy activate water, and can it be retained in water? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Water is a great capacitor. Water is a great reservoir for scalar energy. This is why we look at the human body. It's approximately 70% water. Now, keep in mind, scalar energy is from the sun and the stars. So we are constantly being flooded with scalar energy, and our body is absorbing that scalar energy from the sun and the stars. So that gives notion to the crystalline structure of the universe, the crystalline dynamic. So that's very real. That's very real. Water, the life liquid. We are composed of water, 70% water. And that's why it's so important to go back to nature, to obviously eat organic foods. You know, you see many food today, many fruits and vegetables, they're 70, 80% water. You know, what's God trying to tell us?
Yes.
That is the motif. That is central dogma. It should always be considered central dogma in nutrition.
Well, the ancients knew lots of things. And in fact, your studies before you, at least when I first met you, you were talking about ancient philosophers and scientists that talked about this kind of energy that wasn't electromagnetic, and it wasn't gravitational, it was something else, correct?
Yeah. You're right. You see around the world many ruins. You see obelisks, you see pyramids, or you see certain types of geometric shapes that would control or capture scalar energy. Many of the obelisks that are still, or maybe are in ruin, but nonetheless have been preserved, those obelisks are still passive capacitors gained for scalar energy. So the ancients knew that. And they knew that to be around this life-giving energy and to build certain geometric forms to encourage that. You know, there has to be something to the fact that there are so many obelisks, there's so many ley lines that people would want to live close or nearby, or they felt a strong affinity by those ley lines. Or many people say that even volcanoes give off this scalar energy. And many people realize that when you have a dormant volcano, it is a life-giving volcano because of so much scalar energy coming out of that volcano.
So do you find that, I know the obelisks and the pyramids, a lot of the energy devices that the ancients created are by water. And you live in Florida, yes, by water. Yes. But that's salt water.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that and
I'm going to give
that helps?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a corollary to that. When Nikola Tesla was building his tower, his scalar energy tower in Long Island, Tesla built it in the town Shoreham, Long Island, which is right next to the Long Island Sound. There was an aquifer right below his tower. And, you know, he could have built that tower anywhere, but he chose to build it right on the seashore, so to speak, underneath an aquifer, okay, with the Long Island sound in the background. Meaning what? Tesla probably knew that this deposit of water, this if you will, this labyrinthian artesian well or whatever type of underground structure of water served to power his scalar energy device. So I've always said that water captures scalar energy. The fact that Tesla built his Wardenclyffe Tower above an aquifer, above some type of body of water, probably calls to mind that Tesla was drawing scalar energy up from the ground that had been deposited in this reservoir of water.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because so much of what I envisioned was the energy coming out of the ethers into that device rather than up. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I think that was part of it, but still, there's something about the fact that he chose that area close to the water. You know, he was in New York City, but he did not want to build a tower in New York City, so he purposely went out close to the Long Island Sound for a reason.
So, and when you created your scalar energy device, did you have an engineering degree? And right. How could you talk a little bit about your creation?
Sure. I was of the good fortune, I met an inventor. His name was Galen Hieronymus. I never met him, but I met his wife, and his wife opened up his laboratory. So I was actually able to purchase his scalar energy instruments. I purchased Hieronymus scalar energy instruments back in the 90s. Now, this is when the family was still alive, and they were still wanting to share that knowledge. Since then, the family has all died off, and nothing is left from their legacy except some of the instruments that I've kept. So I've worked with a group of engineers to reverse engineer what Galen Hieronymus left behind. Now, it's such a shame that we had to reverse engineer a lot of Tesla's work. We had to reverse engineer a lot of this man, Galen Hieronymus, his work. You know, if we would have paid attention to these great scientists when they were alive, the easy way would have been to work with them and to help them advance their work. But nobody took the time or made the effort really to help Tesla or to preserve his work. Nobody really took the time to preserve Hieronymus's work. This is a treasure. This is a treasure for mankind that we simply are avoiding, or we simply don't realize. So I'm not going to throw that treasure away. God has given me that treasure. I'm trying to inculcate how important this technology is. The world is in the midst of an energy crisis, and it's not going to get better next year. Nobody has any answers. If we would have listened to Nikola Tesla, Tesla had free energy. He had scalar energy devices that worked on star energy. We would have solved the energy crisis a long time ago.
So can scalar energy fuel a car just like the Tesla?
Yeah, but apparently Tesla was driving around in Buffalo, New York one day, and people saw that the car that he was driving simply had an antenna, and the antenna just captured star energy. So Tesla took out the gas engine out of this car, and he retrofitted it with some type of antenna that captures sun energy, star energy. And Tesla powered his car off of the stars. And in operation, the car was silent. Nobody ever saw any smoke. So it wasn't a combustion engine. It did not make any noise like a gasoline engine. There was no smoke. It was a scalar energy, freestanding, free energy car.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
now we should have listened to him, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, why aren't we all running around with star cars?
Well, so when are you going to start working on that?
Yeah, pray that God gives me that wisdom. If I had the wisdom, if I could re-engineer what he had accomplished, boy, we'd be out of this crisis in a heartbeat.
Well, the other thing that I'd like to ask about is stress. And it's not just the stress that causes physical damage, but the emotional damage and the lack of faith that people have. I mean, we're kind of in a period that is it's polarized for sure in people's thought processes, but it's also,
that's a good point.
It's just not optimistic. And what about people's mental health? Have you found that your process helps with mental health?
I do believe so. Again, to go back and to consider that scalar energy has a direct influence on the mind, on the brain waves. Now, what am I driving at? If this energy is from the stars and it's a fundamental energy, then everybody can fundamentally benefit from this energy. And the outcome is always favorable. So this is going to be the tool for mass mental health, for group mental health in the future. I know there's some tough times. I realize that many people are under stress. I will say as we learn more about scalar energy and we're able to treat 1 million people a day, imagine that's mental health to 1 million people a day, 1 million people a day by way of a scalar energy instrument. That's the proper step forward. I want answers. Tonight, we're going to speak about answers. We're not going to complain. We're going to find answers. We're going to have solutions to our problems. So if you work with this coherent light, scalar energy is always coherent. There's no division. It's always uplifting. It's immaculate. It's clean. It's divine. The outcome is always favorable. You can never have an unfavorable side effect. It's perfect light.
You just muted. Oh, now you're unmuted. Well, that's what I was hoping you would say, because, right now it's hard to imagine the new Earth. When we think about we're going out of this age into the age of Aquarius, which is to bring in peace and love and harmony. And we are so far away from that right now because of the disparity of income, really, in the world. You have such high contrast, so few people, and the middle class is getting smaller, and change is happening, but it's hard to keep the hopeful picture. And so what you're doing by clearing, equaling the field.
Okay, so that's another corollary. Scalar energy, the free energy from the sun and the stars, will end the monopolies. So if you want to look past 5 years, 10 years down the road, free energy will end this monopoly of energy, the pharmaceutical companies, telecommunications, the oil companies. This new technology will make obsolete what we see today as the military-industrial complex. So if you want to help change the world, at least pray for us. Scalar energy will change the outcome. It will change the economic model. If we change the economic model, then there will be abundance for everybody, not just the few.
Yep, that's the ticket. The other thing is that's a kind, humane future. And that's where, when you listen to the indigenous stories and the whole prophecies, is that at some point we all do come back together and work as a community, which is what Creator's Convergence is. But we're not seeing that right yet. So I'm that's why I'm so excited about what you're doing. I do think that sensitive people will feel a difference in 2 weeks. They will feel it.
Yes, they will. Thank you. Thank you. And that's the big picture here. It's not just about Tom with a few instruments. If we could really diffuse this technology throughout society, it would end the monopolies. I don't want to get into it tonight, but there are many elitist families that have a monopoly on so many industries. And because of that, the people do not flourish. We are controlled. We're subjugated by this technological centerpiece.
Well, the thing is, again, we have to regain our humanity.
Yes.
And what we're seeing, that's the infrastructure that's in place right now is not designed in that way. So we know we have to turn the boat around. So there are some questions coming in, and certainly we're almost to a point where we could open it up a little bit, but do you have some more things, Tom, that I didn't ask you that you would like to talk about? Because I want people to understand what an incredible opportunity this is, because this is preventative empowerment.
Yes, it is.
For you and your loved ones. This is not waiting until you have some illness and then going and getting it fixed and hoping someone can fix you. This is preventative medicine that is certainly, I think it would be a better way to spend your insurance money, your monthly health insurance money, to spend this way, because it's real. And the fact that Tom just sort of glossed over that there's no more HIV in that area of Africa and Tanzania. The work that he's doing, he's got proof for the cynical ones that need to know there is a causal effect from the work that he's doing, that it does repair and heal people.
Yes. Yes.
And in fact, that's been part of our conversations have been of how do we get you out there without getting shut down.
Yeah. This is a game changer. This technology will make obsolete, once again, much of the technology today. Why? It's better. You know, I usually use this analogy. If you remember, there was a time we had the Pony Express where we would deliver mail by horseback. Well, then came along the telephone and the telegraph, and we didn't need to deliver a message. Well, what is superseded that now is email. We can send an email around the world in a couple seconds. So what's my point? Technology drives the world. Technology is always the improvement that we're looking for. This scalar energy technology will improve our lifestyle. And the inventions prior to that might be like the Pony Express. Nobody delivers mail by horseback anymore. So we're going to level the playing field, as Kathy said, and we're going to have a more fair economic system. And we're not going to have those monopolies. Monopolies always stifle progress. I'm not a monopolist. I don't want to monopolize anything.
Well, the other thing I want people to know is that this can work in conjunction with other things. So if you have an energy healer and you have a chiropractor and you have other people, acupuncturists, you have other people that you love working with, this will just make their work easier. And you'll get results faster because, as we said, your body is trying to figure it out to create homeostasis. And if the field isn't clear, it's struggling. So give yourself the foundation for well-being by getting this process. So there are some questions. Do we want to, and Noelle and Bob, there she is. Hi, do you want to ask some questions?
Yeah. One question I have about monopolies, I mean, does this mean that you're teaching people or building it so others can have this machine? Or are you monopolizing it, Tom?
I won't sell the instrument because it has to be used appropriately. Well, what I want to do is find a central location and teach people. Now, that's not yet happened yet. I want people to get on board, and eventually we have to have like a college campus to forward this. Okay, so in the interim, all I can do is tell people, send in your photographs. I'll treat as many people as free as possible. That's my way of breaking the monopoly thus far.
Great. I just want to invite everyone, you can go ahead and I've made it so that you can turn on your video and come into the conversation. And I know that, I still have a lot of questions. And
Olivia has her hand up too.
Okay, Olivia, why don't you go ahead and please turn on your camera and unmute.
Nope. Okay, so you go in the middle, in the meantime, if you want.
Hold on a second. Allow participants to start video, yes, and unmute themselves. Okay. All right, try it again, Olivia. There you are.
Hi, Olivia.
I'm so excited to see you, Tom, and to have a moment to I
And
love
the pleasure's
Tesla.
mine. Likewise. Hi, Olivia. Good evening.
I love Tesla, and I felt he was so wronged, and I felt so sad. I've really learned a lot about his life.
Yeah.
And I have several questions I don't want to hog, but my first question is, how did you learn about Tesla? How old were you when you discovered him?
I started to read Tesla when I was 8, 9 years of age. I was always an avid reader. So this has been a lifelong journey. I've been given the gift of mysticism by God. And when I can read something that's true, God, the Holy Spirit will tell me it's true. And I've followed this up throughout the course of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. And then my other question is, I'm also passionate about sacred geometry, which I've learned from my indigenous spiritual teacher, Venerable Dahani Wahu, from the Cherokee and Buddhist perspective. And I'm fascinated because one of the things that I've learned is that the tetrahedron is very, very important to the way that the whole form has been created by the creator and the intelligence of the universe and the universes. And I'm wondering if your scalar energy has also something to do with the tetrahedron.
Of course, it has to. The tetrahedron is such an important Platonic solid. Of course, yes. You know, when I'm working with this energy, it gives meaning, it gives formation to everything, including pyramids, tetrahedrons, the circle, the sacred cube, everything, everything. So to answer your question, yes.
So if I'm going to sign up. I've been wanting to do this ever since I first met you, but I had other things I had to do first. And I'm now going to go on a break.
Okay.
Would it be helpful for me to be, as I'm receiving from you, to be visualizing, doing a certain meditation or sound or whatever?
Ask God for his healing. You ask God for his healing. Now, let me make this distinction. My instrument is scalar energy, but the sun of our solar system is 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000 times more powerful than my instrument. I simply can direct my instrument. It's more of a refined approach. So every day I thank the stars and the sun. I thank God for creation. I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And that will suffice. Keep in mind, I'm not writing a new textbook here. This is not new to God. I'm simply working with a miniature star, which is my instrument. So you thank God for creation.
Yes, I do every day. Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess my other question, and then I'll be quiet because I want to give other people a chance. But one of the things that happened with Tesla was that Edison and Morgan, from what I understand, teamed up against him. And originally they were with him. And I want so much for us not to have history repeat itself. So Kathy, you alluded to that.
Yes.
And I want to send you light and protection and all of that. But I'm aware that we're at a real turning point with these forces that are not aware of raising our vibration and our frequency and really want to keep people under the yoke, if you like.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And Noel referred to that a little bit earlier.
Yes.
So I looked at the mistakes in the past, and I'm not going to make the mistakes of some people in the past, and I look how Tesla was undermined.
Yes.
And I'm not going to take a penny from big business, or I'm not going to get involved with government, because big business and government, many big businesses and governments are corrupt.
Right.
Now, Tesla, he from what I could understand, he would have worked with anybody. He was just an open book. But in retrospect, I realized how many people wanted to deceive him, and I'm sure he was onto that. So If I start working with a group of people, they will be true humanitarians, and this cannot be driven by money or power. Right. If you're greedy for money, you're greedy for power, greedy for reputation, you're in the wrong place.
Right. Yeah. Well, I love the way that you're making it available to everybody and not charging. That's so generous of you.
Yeah, you have to. We have to break this dog-eat-dog mentality. The law of the jungle doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, this is what the Rockefellers want. They want this dog-eat-dog mentality where everybody has to pay a nickel to the Rockefellers to breathe air. Right. You know, if they could charge you for breathing air, they would.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have this opportunity. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Kathy.
Bonnie, did you want to jump in here?
Yes, I would.
Okay, go ahead.
Noelle, you had written a very good question. As an energy healer myself, I would also like to know the answer. Does someone have to agree to have it done, or can I send a picture of a loved one who is resistant?
If you're of age, if you're the age of reason, you should agree to this. I always allow parents to stand in for their children, but if somebody's an adult, they should agree to this first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I have a question. Let's say that I do the one of your treatments. How long does it last? You know, maybe, you know, I can't afford to pay every month, but how long do the effects last?
It person by person, it's hard to answer that. In general, many people will sign up for a month or two and then take 2 or 3 months off, and then come back in 2 or 3 months and sign up for another month. How long does it last? It depends on your genetics predisposition. It depends upon your current state of health. But most people will feel that after the 15-day session, they feel better for a month or two usually.
Okay. All righty. So now I have a testimonial, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay, so I did the 15 days.
Oh.
And I included my daughter, who's been homeless for many years. And I included my brother-in-law, who has something, he's been in the hospital since the 1st of January with some type of, they don't know. I mean, it's some kind of fungus. And then myself and Bob. And now I don't know if this is whatever, I'm just going to tell you what happened. My daughter got a home. She'd been Beautiful. On a home. She'd been on a wait list to get housing. She says, Mom, I don't even know how many years I put my name on that list. Wow. So she got housing. Good. My brother-in-law, all of a sudden, you know, started to feel better, started to make progress. And I did tell him about it. I didn't ask him ahead of time, but I did tell him about it. And he's just like, rolls his, you know, he's like, oh, that's Noelle and her spiritual voodoo, kind of thing. But I just texted him, and he's maybe going to be discharged tomorrow. And then other great things happened. My family has my mom was the last, she passed in 2013, and the estate has been tied up for 10 years. That same week, I got like a very nice distribution from the estate. So, I mean, I didn't feel like I had any physical really problems or anything like that. But well, especially after I got that news about my daughter, I mean, I was just like on cloud 9. It was like all these wonderful things started happening. So, you know, I just, I said, okay, I accept that. You know, so.
And that's the right attitude. Thank you, God, I accept.
Yes, that's what I did. So, yeah, let me see here.
Well, that's what we're talking about, coherence. Mm-hmm. When the field is coherent, then everything can work out in such a much easier way. Because right now, without it being that way, you have to, your body, your whole system's working on that first, and then health, and then well-being. Right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well spoken. Well spoken.
So I do have a proposal for you.
Okay.
Okay, so October 14th through the 17th, the Co-Creators Convergence is having a small gathering in Montgomery, Texas, at the White Eagle Lodge. Very, very beautiful. It's like an Essene community, modern day Essene community. Okay. And so I'm wondering if I could send you a picture of everyone who's attending, like maybe 5 days before we start, then we're together for 5 days, and then the 5 days afterwards, and then we could report into you.
Do that. As you know, as long as everybody's okay with that. Many times people from Africa will send me group photographs. So if you're thinking about this event, what, October 14th you mentioned?
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, send me a group photograph. Okay.
Yeah, they'll all agree, but I will definitely. One is already agreed. That's Olivia. So I would say that might be really, you know, they're just beautiful beings. It might just, you know, have some wonderful experiences to share, testimonials for you. I don't know if you'd be interested in that. But.
Yes, of course. Yeah, anything to further the science. We have to get this word out there. You know, sadly, there's very few scalar energy researchers such as myself. Why? Well, for various reasons. But yes, we have to get that information out there. So yes.
Okay.
I'll give you my private. You have my private email. Send me a collage. Send me their photographs, and I'll treat them.
Awesome. That's just wonderful. And so Olivia says, fabulous idea, Noelle. So thank you, God.
Yes.
So she did have another question about arthritis and joint pain, and she would love not to have surgery for a knee replacement. Any ideas on that, Tom?
Yeah, I cannot help you with a knee replacement, but many people say once we destroy the pathogens, once we eradicate the pathogens, then inflammation is reduced. Okay, a lot of microbes, germs, they'll get into our joints and they'll cause inflammation, and because of that, we have arthritic hands, etc. We have inflammation. Well, remove the microbe, remove the pathogens, the inflammation will decrease, and people usually have a greater range of motion. So if that's the case, it helps many people with what I call bacterial arthritis or microbial arthritis.
Okay. I know there are more questions up there. Kathy, do you have any that you see? That's really amazing that you started reading about Tesla when you're 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was drawn to that right away. It's a gift from God. I knew that Tesla was onto something. By the way, even as a youngster, I said to myself, what he was doing, I said, this cannot be electricity.
So your machine has no electricity to it?
It has electricity to start the, there's a capacitor, but after that, it's all driven by Scalar.
Okay. How big a machine is it? I mean, you say you go to your lab. I mean, you got like a boiler room, or was it as big as my phone?
The lab, your phone. The lab, if you will, it's situated on, say, 4 or 5 tables. The lab, if I had to look at the square footage, it's at least 1,100 square foot in a room.
Okay, cool. And so you go there every day and feed the pictures. Now, did I understand that you miniaturize them?
That's correct. That's correct. You don't need 8 by 11. These are miniaturized photographs. So many times, yes, that's why I say I can work with 1 million people a day by miniaturized photographs. Everything is miniaturized. Why miniaturized?
Yeah.
To keep it to scale. If I can scale it down, then I can keep my expenses low. You know, Tesla, he had 150-foot tower in Long Island, along the Long Island Sound. It was cost prohibitive for him. He ran out of money. It's not his fault. I wish he could have miniaturized.
Mm. But then, didn't they say like one of the reasons that they, maybe this is propaganda, that they had to get rid of Tesla was that they didn't want that to get into the wrong hands, and that it was doing stuff that he wasn't able to control the energy.
He could control it. Tesla could control it. These instruments, a scientific instrument allows you to control the energy. So that's debunked. That's nonsense. That's not logical. What the powers that be did not like is that they could not control the money. Okay, the energy you can control. Tesla can control his devices, but the Illuminati could not control Tesla, and that's why they had a problem with his inventions.
Yeah. The other thing that I've recently heard about the Tesla work is that he also was working with time, and that really was, which is one of the, if someday I'll ask Tom about it, but Tom's here, I could ask him now. About, is that part of the anti-aging, is there's the Tesla time machines in it.
In many ways, the fact that I am under the influence of these instruments 24/7, I think I am slowing down aging, but it also, I'm in a scalar energy environment in which I'm experiencing time differently. And I believe I've slowed down the progression of time, yes.
Well, what's weird about this time period we're in right now, especially since the end of last month, and then the Lionsgate, is that some things are going faster,
right,
and then some things are going slower. It just depends on almost your attention. Are you feeling that too?
Yeah, I am. I look at this month of August and it's just flown by. Frankly, the year, we're halfway through 2022. Time is, like they say, relative. Well, this year, time is just flying like I've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I just hope people take advantage of your generosity and go to scalarlight.com and upload your picture and take the chance that something different can change for you, that you can make a choice that really could change, just like Noelle said, it changed her daughter's life. I mean,
that's great.
Where there's so many things
so
that
thankful.
are unseen in this universe, that you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Tom. Like I said,
thank you.
Just kind of bring me to tears just to think about it. How she had a medical bankruptcy and was injured on the job, and they wouldn't give her workman's comp, and has struggled. So I can't tell you how wonderful that was to get her.
I'm happy she's secured housing. I'm happy she's getting what she deserves in life.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And it's only going up from here, you guys. This is, you're watching 10 years in, but 30 years from now, you're going to see this in a quantum way, because you can feel it, the momentum of what Tom's doing. Yeah. It's blessed. It's truly blessed. And it's going to just keep growing, and maybe a big part of our change. It may be a big part of this time that we all came here right now, to be here right now during this tremendous time of change. And this could be one of the big components of it.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Yes, and some nice comments coming in. Thank you from Bonnie. Thank you, Tom. I'm very grateful for the opportunity you're providing, and a big heart. Thank you, Bonnie, for being here.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you, Bonnie.
Yeah, and Olivia too. Thank you, Tom. Please don't give up. This is blessed work. I'm going to help.
It is blessed work. I won't give up, promise.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So, okay, someone from the Facebook, what's a Zoom code? I want to talk about my little brother who's surviving stage 4 cancer. I need someone to talk about it. Should I give it to her? I would say we're out of time here, but they should go to the website and submit it.
Yeah.
Is that what
by all means, anybody, regardless of your station in life, sign up for the 15-day free session. God, by the way, God is the healer. I'm not the healer. So we leave it in God's hands. God is the healer.
Perfect.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Kathy, Bonnie, everyone who's come. And my apologies to the person on Facebook that we weren't able to get to you, but you know how to get to Tom. Scalarlight.com, SCALAR light.com. And thank you, everyone. Another blessed evening here, another blessed Thursday night for the Co-Creators Convergence. You're welcome back next Thursday. And we still do have a few open spots for the Co-Creators Convergence Gathering, which will be October 14th through the 18th or 19th, if you want to stay for an additional day for a private retreat. All the information there is on co-creatorsconvergence.com. So thank you, everyone, and good night. Mwah. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
God.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us, Tom. Thank you.
Bob, thank
Thanks,
you.
Kathy.
Yeah,
You bet.
Noel. Bye.
Peace and blessings.
Bye, Bob.
God bless
Bye,
everybody.
Bob.